With me right here is Seth Ginsberg. Seth is the president of Global Healthy Living, and you have been one of the organizers of this extraordinary event, your fourth time around.
Yeah.
How's it going so far?
So far, so good, yeah.
And Amanda's message?
Amanda's message was amazing. I mean, we have the opportunity now to put as many tools in the toolbox as possible, and to have all of those messaging, basically the strategy that you need, and then the ways in which you can execute that strategy in one PowerPoint that is now going to be made available on our DH Advocacy website means there's no more excuses for not knowing how to use social media.
Now tell them again how to take advantage and how to actually download all of these slides.
Well, for those that are tuning in at home, and whether it's live right now or hopefully in the future, of course, those slides will be made available in the resource section. Since we had a couple last-minute edits, as we always do before an event like this, we'll make sure that we'll get that final slide deck up and loaded as soon as possible, which will be very quickly.
Now, just a moment ago, I mentioned Creaky Joints. That's your baby. Tell me how you started it.
Sure. So Creaky Joints is a website that was basically the result of being awake one sleepless night in college in my dorm room bunk bed. I've had arthritis since I was a little boy. I was 13 when I was diagnosed with a form called spondyloarthropathy. And I was there in college at Babson, 3 o'clock in the morning, second week of school, really wondering where everyone else with arthritis, especially at my age, was. And knowing at least the fact that they're out in the internet somewhere was the reason we created Creaky Joints. So I got out of bed in the middle of the night, I emailed my former internship boss, Lou, and I said, there's got to be a way to bring people together in a positive environment where we could share strength and experience. And that afternoon, Creaky Joints was online.
Well, you've done two amazing things with Creaky Joints. Number one, you named it something that as soon as we hear the name, we know what we're going to get. So many sites and so many other Twitter handles, hashtags don't exactly do that. How did it come to you, that name? It's just perfect.
Well, it was, like anything else, a team effort. And I think the first name was Creaky Bones. And then we realized that if we want to talk arthritis, it should be Creaky Joints. And that name stuck. And to this day, when we introduce ourselves, especially to like a doctor's office, a nurse, office manager, always gets a smile. And that's what's important to us.
I know. I heard one of your staff members speak at another event, and as soon as he stood up and said, "Hi, I'm with Creaky Joints," I thought, I need to listen to this. And it was really an eye-opener for me. Now, the next thing is, at one point, before regulations on Facebook changed things and on sites changed things, you had as many as 4 million people who tuned in.
Yeah. Well, we were reaching more than that, actually. We were reaching in the tens of millions of people every week with our posts because they were getting reposted, and everybody was kind of basically just being exposed to our messaging, which not always had to do with arthritis, but most of the time had to do with arthritis. And so we were getting those messages out there. And unfortunately, there was an algorithm change. It was a shift in the way Facebook was operating. And effectively, that basically cut our legs off. And that basically gave us a real uphill battle because we were reaching as many as 10 million, 12 million people a week. And that has been throttled down as a result of this algorithm change to about 150 to 250,000 people a week. And I know it's still a lot of people.
You'd love that, right?
Yeah. So it's all relative. But the fact is that we have mounted a campaign against this because we realized very quickly, in fact, immediately, that wait a minute, if we're impacted, a lot of other people are impacted. And we really just want to call attention to this, and we want to work with Facebook for a solution so that we nonprofits who are putting our important messages out to our communities that we care so much about, whether it's a healthcare group like ours and the hundreds of others that will be with us today, or maybe a religious group, or maybe a school district. I mean, there's a lot of folks that use Facebook for a lot of important reasons. And the point is, we need to bring them and their visibility as well as ours back up to where it belongs, because the people that like our page like it for a reason. They need it. They want it.
And now let me ask about something. You mentioned that you have mounted a campaign. Where can our viewers and our listeners help with that? Is there a signature place? Is there a writing to a congressman? What can we do to advance your cause?
Absolutely. So that's what DH Advocacy is all about, digital health advocacy. And we have a change.org signature campaign petition that's live right now. We've gotten over 18,000 signatures already. We've just gotten started. We have a link to that prominently featured on our website at dhadvocacy.org, as well as, of course, our homepage, ghlf.org. That'll zip you right over to the change.org signature page. Throw your signature on there. Check out some of the comments, because they're very compelling. Groups around the country are just buzzing in about what this has meant to them. And then, of course, most importantly, Jan, share it.
Share it.
Tweet
Hit
it.
the share button. Tweet
Yeah,
it.
ironically, if you want to use Facebook to petition Facebook, you should, because we like irony. But make sure it goes widely to your network and to your friends and family.
All right, now, all of that about creaky joints, I'm sure that was very informative for you as it was for me. Now let's talk about the rest of the conference. What do we have coming up?
This is an amazing event that's been pulled together by an absolutely amazing team, and I can't say enough about how amazing the entire GHLF team has been in coming together to really pull some of the top brass, some of the smartest people in the country to talk about all things social media that relate to those of us in the healthcare advocacy field. So we're going to start off today here with a panel discussion that I'll be moderating between a representative from Faster Cures, which is a leading organization around research and development, a nonprofit here in Washington, as well as with a representative from the Food and Drug Administration. So the two of them will be talking about how social media can play a role in research and then in regulatory affairs. And to have the lead, Paul Bove from the Food and Drug Administration, the lead of social media there, answering our questions, which you need to tweet to us with the hashtag DHADV. We'll be monitoring them here throughout the day in the room, and that'll give us a chance to engage directly with folks like Paul Bove and Cecilia Ardeza from Faster Cures for that first panel.
Well, I can tell you it is a rare opportunity to get to hear Paul Bove. So as he says, make sure you tweet your questions so Paul can address them and the others on the panel can address them specifically. And
45 minutes after that, we'll have our discussion about capital communication, how to use social media to effectively talk to and with our elected officials, representatives of Congress and senators. And we have none other than the communications director and the head of social media for Speaker John Boehner's office. So we went right to the top for this one.
well, we want to say something about that. He's not here on a political cause. He is not. But he can talk about all of the congressmen, senators on the Hill, about the way they want to receive your information and the way they want to chat with you, informally or in a more formal way. So he's speaking about that issue.
In his post as communications director, not in any political affair, but if anything, to demonstrate our bipartisanship.
There you go.
To have Mike Rickey here, and we're very excited about that. After that, we're going to have Cody Damon, who comes from Boston, where he's with a company called Media Cause, and he'll be talking about analyzing, using analytics to improve our social media. Very important, something that a lot of us often forget about, which is the ability to track our progress, to understand not just how far we've come and the direction that we're going, but how to get to the next level and how to take what we can analyze and learn and then apply the learnings to improve our reach and our engagement. So Cody's going to have a great presentation for us about analytics.
No, one of the last points that Amanda made was just on that point, and that is measurables. When you start your social media strategy, that last point over there on the right end of your flow chart has to be, how do we measure what we're doing? So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Amanda hit it on the head, and then Cody's going to really deliver when it comes to the specifics. Again, all these materials will be made available to everybody post-event, because it's important that we take all these tools, we put them in the toolbox, and then, I don't know, we build an arc or something.
You'll have to build an arc.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I've made a living for almost 30 years by talking. I don't do numbers well, so I'm going to be listening very carefully. I hope to learn a great deal. I've already learned a great deal from Amanda.
Very good point. Then those of us here at FHI 360 in Washington will be treated to a delicious lunch. Those of you at home will hit power, then 3 minutes, and then heat up yours. Sorry to say it. Sorry to say it. But after that, we're going to come back and we're going to close out with a very special keynote. Marvin Amori's here. This is one of the prime people who were the thrust behind the SOPA, the online bandwidth issue, and
That's right.
and how the SOPA issue and Marvin's effort effectively led to the shutting down of the FCC portal for comments
3 million hits in a day. They couldn't handle it.
in less than a day, talking about net neutrality. And so having Marvin here, giving us inspiration, really, which is what that is, in our opinion, and the reason we were so delighted to have him join us today, peeling the curtain back just a little bit, helping us understand what was going through his mind, the processes leading up to the net neutrality debate, the discussion, and then eventually the engagement by the public is so critical. So we're excited to have him. He's a keynote, and he's going to leave us here jazzed up, shall we say, because we're going to start our own online revolution, the
There
way
you go.
Marvin has, and it's going to be for our respective causes.
And yours, okay.
Of course.
Thank you, Seth Ginsberg. I'm giving you my personal round of applause
It's
for
great.
putting this together.
We're looking forward to it, and we'll see you back on in a little bit.
Thank you,
All right.
thank you.